Aging is not what's slowing you down. Your brain's prediction about aging is, if you believe decline is inevitable, your brain starts organizing your body around protection. That means less movement, more tension, more fatigue, more hesitation. And over time, your world gets smaller and smaller. Your capacity shrinks, not because you got older, but because your brain decided to protect you more. Age does not define your nervous system. Input and interpretation does. When you change how your brain interprets aging, your body can respond very differently. More energy, more confident, more movement, more possibilities, even as years go on. In this video, we're going to break down why aging is not just physical, it's neurological. We'll talk about how your brain predicts decline and why that creates real limitations and how you can change that. I will also give you 3 simple brain-based exercises that you can follow along with to start shifting your thoughts, your beliefs immediately starting today. Welcome, I'm Heike Fallon. I'm the founder of Expand Health and the creator of the NeuroHP method. I combine neuroscience and sports therapy and personal performance coaching to help people who are not willing to be limited. I help them optimize their health and personal performance for longevity. Over 30 years, I've studied the brain and body and their connection, and today I want to share how your beliefs about aging are directly impacting your health, your performance, and your longevity. Before we get into it, make sure you grab my free PDF. There's a link in the description below. And now let's dive in. Here is where it gets super interesting. Aging is not just something that happens to your body. It is something your brain interprets. Your brain is always predicting. It's predicting what is safe, what is possible, what requires protection. And if your brain associates aging with decline, let me say that again. If your brain associates aging with decline, it's adjusting everything. So if you're thinking for yourself, this is age-related, the brain will actually adjust to that because your brain believes most what you are telling yourself. So then movement becomes more cautious, energy becomes more limited, pain sensitivity can increase, and this is not just the mindset, this is neurology. A lot of people don't realize that your brain is constantly running efficiency models. So it asks, is this safe? Is this worth it? Do I need protecting? And if the answer leans towards uncertainty, your brain chooses protection. So if you're already thinking, oh, I'm feeling older, I don't know if I can do this, your brain will start predicting that. And here's one of my core principles. When the brain senses uncertainty, it prioritizes protection over performance. So if aging feels uncertain, your brain will reduce that output. And this is something I see all the time. A client comes in their 50s and their 60s, they're still active, they still train, but suddenly start thinking, I should be more careful now. Nothing dramatic happened, just a belief shift. Within months, they move slower, they avoid positions, they feel tighter, and they will say, I think I'm just getting older. But here's what I see. Their brain changed its prediction. So you want to make sure that you start questioning that narrative. Not in a motivational way, but in a neurological way, okay? Asking, what is my brain assuming right now? Because your brain needs evidence to stay in performance. So most people think, beliefs are just purely mental, but beliefs are actually biological. And here's what that means. A belief is a prediction pattern in the brain, and that pattern directly affects muscle tone, coordination, breathing, balance, energy, really everything. So if you believe is I'm getting weaker, your brain reduces available strengths. Not because you lost it, but because your brain doesn't want to risk it. So your brain is constantly integrating sensory input. That is from your vision, that is from your inner ear, your vestibular system, that's for balance, joint feedback, and combining it with your expectations. And if your expectations are negative, your output will be reduced. And think of it like the brain as a dimmer switch, right? It's neither fully on, or it's not fully off, but it's adjustable. Beliefs turn that dial. So depending on what your belief is, you can turn it up and down. And most people are unknowingly turning it down as they age. You know, there might have been a little injuries and now they think they can't do it anymore and they're dialing it down. And this is something I teach my clients. You don't need more motivation. You need better input, and you need to dial the switch back up, because when input improves, beliefs updates are automatically. So here's where it gets really powerful. Your brain does not just listen to your thoughts, it listens to your body, especially your sensory system. And again, that means your vision, your vestibular, so your inner ear, your proprioception, that's where we are in space, right? That's mainly your joints and limb movement. These systems tell your brain what is safe and what is not. As people age, these systems often become less stimulated, less activated, and there's less movement, less head rotation, and less visual challenges, so the brain receives less precise input. And when input decreases, uncertainty increases. And when uncertainty increases, protection increases. So people just stop turning their head quickly. They, don't move dynamically anymore. They don't challenge their balance. And then they say, I feel unstable. But the instability was actually learned. And you want to make sure you're training your sensory system regularly, because your brain needs clear information and in order to allow performance. So let's do an exercise together. It's a VOR, so it's training the vestibular system, really integrating the visual and vestibular system. If you've done this exercise before, I'll show you a advanced version in a second, but if you have not done it before, what you want to do is stand hip width apart first. We're going to do a quick assessment and see how your brain responds, where you're at right now, and then how your brain responds to the exercise. So we're going to keep the hands straight, and we're going to rotate, keeping the feet flat on the ground. Do a few rotations, kind of look over your thumbs. See how far you were able to rotate that way. How far can you rotate this way? So you want to get a reference point of this is your pre-assessment, right? Now we're going to do an exercise. You're going to find a focal point ahead. I'm going to use there's a bolt on my microphone, which I'm using right now. And we stay hip width apart. And so what you want to do is move your head side to side, keeping the eyes on the target that you chose. Now, if you've done this before, I'm going to challenge you to go a little quicker. So if you haven't done it before, please stick to the one I just showed you. If you have done this exercise before, go a little quicker to one side and back, quick and back, quick and back. Other side, quick and back, quick. Always maintaining your target. And that would be the advanced version. Let's reassess that. So now we do the same range of motion assessment again. And for me, that was a little bit more range of motion. That means my system liked this type of input. I got a little bit more range of motion. I was able to rotate further. If you rotated the same, then your brain was saying, like, that input was fine, but it didn't really matter to me. If you have less range of motion, that means your system responded with a threat, and that might be really an indication that you need to train your vestibular system. I would highly recommend to do the same exercise for seated and see if that works for you. Oftentimes we need to just take a little bit of thread out of this. And when you're standing, your brain definitely has to keep you upright, and that's much harder than seated. So if you had less range of motion after this, please repeat this exercise seated. But if you had more range of motion, your brain just received clearer vision and vestibular input, and that reduced the need of protection, which means you were able to rotate more, so more movement is possible. Let's talk about stress, because this is a big one. A lot of people don't realize that chronic stress accelerates that feels like aging. When your brain perceives stress, it shifts into protective state. Less recovery, more tension, lower adaptability. Over time, this looks like aging. But this is not just aging, it's prolonged protection. If you're chronically stressed, which does not need to be external stress, right? It can be dealing with gut issues, inflammation, or other internal health challenges. You might be saying, I feel older than I am. And when we look closer, the system is just overloaded, right? There's just too much going on. So you want to make sure you are regulating your nervous system daily, not just occasionally, not just when things are, feeling bad or when you're exhausted or overwhelmed. You want to really do it on a daily basis, and particularly also when you're feeling pretty good, because your brain learns through repetition, and you want to also give it good repetitions when you're feeling good. So we're going to do another exercise. This is one that really calms your nervous system down really quickly. And this one is called cyclic sigh. It takes a little bit to get used to or learn correctly, but what you're going to do is we're going to first do an assessment. I'm going to do the range of motion assessment again. I'm at the same spot right now, and I'm rotating, keeping my feet on the ground. Now, again, don't rotate with too much momentum here. We want to get a fair assessment, right? So I got about here on the wall. If I extend over my thumbs, and I'm over there. So know where you are at in your assessment. So this one works is it's an inhale through the nose, and then another second inhale through the nose, and then a long exhalation. So it sounds like this. So it's kind of like a sniff, sniff, and exhale. So let's do that again. A little faster. Good. Let's give that a try. So that was a lot further for me, a lot more range of motion for me. Again, if you had less range of motion after this breathing drill might need to be trained a little longer for you, or you might do a completely different breathing exercise. Maybe this one is not for you, but give it a try. Learn it, repeat it a few more times, see if you can actually create it without your brain getting a threat response. So again, this pattern helps regulate your nervous system. It tells your brain you're safe, and when your brain feels safe, it allows better function. And let's talk about movement now as a brain signal. Movement is not just exercising your muscles, it's actually information, and your brain uses that information to update its belief. Let me say that again. Your brain uses information from movement to update your beliefs. If your movement is limited, your brain assumes limitation. If your movement is, flexible, varied, your brain assumes capability. Think of movement really as a communication. Every movement tells your brain something about you. And this is why small inputs matter so much. Tiny eye movement, small head turns, just a subtle shift in balance, right? these are not small to the brain. They are data, and they can be big data, and they can influence it big time. And it's all about creating bigger, better maps in your brain from each area. So we're going to do one more exercise. It's called foot pressure. So ideally, you take actually your socks off too and stand barefoot on the floor. And you can take the same range of motion assessment. I'm going to do this time more like an awareness check-in. So we want to just kind of close your eyes and just check how tight you feel, where you feel tight, if something feels painful or not, how your posture is. So check in. Okay, you can open your eyes again. So feet flat on the ground. This one, you can do seated as well, but then your butt is the one really taking the information. Then consider then the feet. If you're not comfortable doing this standing freely, you can also slightly hold on to something. But what we're going to do is stand with the soft knees, tall spine, and we're slowly shifting the weight forward onto the ball of your foot. Just kind of check in how that feels. And then we're moving slowly back to the heel. Check in how that feels. We're going to shift all the way to one foot. Keep the foot on the other foot on the ground though. And going to shift to the other side. Going to shift back again. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. We're going to do a very small, tiny circle, shifting to the front, to the right, to the back to the center. Again, only close your eyes if you're comfortable. Good. Now spread your toes. And now feel, where are your soles touching the ground? And relax, shake out your legs for a second. Good, and just stand tall again and check in. Do you feel the same tightness? Is there a difference? If you did the range of motion assessment, please redo that. But the key is here, your feet send massive amount of information to your brain. And just the little shift that we're having by leaning forward or back or sideways is different pressure. So there's more clear information getting sent to the brain, and that will help the brain to not have to protect as much, because now it feels more safe when you're leaning forward because it has been there and it knows it's okay. You didn't fall, and it saved that memory as well. Now let's bring this together. Rewiring beliefs is not about thinking differently. It's about experiencing something different. Improve inputs, reduces uncertainty, increases safety, expands output, and that's a whole loop, right? And instead of saying, I'm getting older, shift it to, what input is my brain missing? That changes everything. So focus on capacity building, not age, because age does not define your nervous system. Input and interpretation does. Aging is not decline, it's adaptation to the signals your brain receives. Your body does not decide your limits, your brain does. Change the input and the output can change faster than you think. If you're active, if you're a leader, you don't need to do more effort, you need better information. And if you really like this video and you feel like this can help someone that you know, please share it with them. I'm also constantly uploading new science-based content and follow-along exercises, so make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out. Also, if you want to learn more brain-based exercises, you can get more information about my NeuroHP movement library. In the description is a link for that. I'm Heike Fallon, and I hope you'll start investing in yourself today because you deserve it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.